Are fantasy books just a brief distraction from the real world? No, they are so much more. Here are 9 reasons we should all be reading fantasy books. But before we start, please subscribe and support the channel so I can bring to you more such content. Let's begin. 1. To flex those mental muscles. Don't you recall the make believe world you made up as a child with epic stories and compelling characters? All this imaginative play leads to strengthening of our mental muscles. When you read, your brain collects all that information. It then goes into a critical thinking phase trying to figure out what happens next. Research shows that children exposed to fantasy absorb their lessons faster and are able to apply it in the real world too. Exposing children to just basic realities of life limits their thinking, reins in their ability to dream big. 2. To have healthier relationship beliefs. Sounds crazy, right? Science says it is true. A study was conducted with participants who have been exposed to different fictional genre. It was found that many fantasy readers familiar with science fiction and fantasy classics do not believe that disagreements are harmful to relationships. They don't live by strict moral rules, nor do they expect mind reading by their partners. Such readers have a more mature approach towards romantic relationships. Cool, isn't it? But the same cannot be said about romantic fiction, which mostly sets up some unrealistic ideals of love relationships. Before you come at me, I'm not the one saying it, researchers. To process fear. Many people don't like to explore their deep rooted fears. Fantasy books have a way of voicing out fears in an engaging way. How? Mostly with the use of metaphors. Metaphors allow the readers to address these fears while letting them keep a critical distance at the same time. This distance helps them use their imagination to develop strategies to overcome the hurdle. Back in the real world, they are now better prepared to face their fears. Fantasy fiction can help you work through your childhood fears within the safety of its pages, just like Professor Lupin's Bogart class taught the students to do. To learn valuable life lessons. Fantasy is not all about make-believe. It imparts valuable life lessons and is a great tool to reflect on our inner self. Research shows that fiction can improve the ability of the reader to put themselves in the character's shoes. It was found that the same brain region gets activated that is linked to the actual motion of the characters in the story. This means the reader is able to personally experience the character's journey and learn key life lessons from these experiences. To develop creative problem solving. Did you know that so many inventions in our world have been inspired by fiction? Innovation needs free thinkers, people who are not bound by standard practices and rules. Readers of fantasy are more open to the idea that there are multiple ways to solve a problem. With their out-of-box thinking, fantasy readers are able to think of new possibilities. All the technological advancements we enjoy today exist because someone somewhere imagined it possible. To have a positive outlook. Almost every popular fantasy story solidifies the belief that good always triumphs over evil. Fantasy fiction allows the readers in challenging situations to foster their beliefs in possibilities, to be hopeful, to imagine a positive outcome in the long term. An optimistic outlook will give you enough strength to keep going and weather the tough times. You constantly see your favorite characters working hard through adversity with integrity and honesty. These exemplary qualities can also have a solid positive impact on those who connect with these characters. To broaden the understanding of the world, fantasy readers are more open to learning about new cultures, different ways of life. Reading stories from other cultures can help question your own perceptions and become more accepting of others. You develop an appreciation for diverse experiences and backgrounds, but this knowledge is not only limited to people. Science fiction can help you have a deeper awareness of our environment, so you become more cautious while interacting with nature. To develop compassion. A good story can make you care for the characters, and characters in fantasy novels go through so much chaos and challenges. It is common to have multiple perspectives in fantasy novels, so the readers are able to understand the motivations of characters on a deeper level. A research study found that there was a possibility of people developing more empathy when they were highly emotionally connected to the fictional story. Fantasy novels help relate to the human experiences of people around us, developing empathy for their struggles. If you cannot imagine what they are feeling, you cannot empathize with them, can you? To cope with stress. We all need a break from time to time from the reality info dump. Fantasy books are a healthy way to manage stress in our daily lives. You are not escaping your reality, you detach yourself from your worries and live in the present. You are taking the time out to clear your mind to come back recharged with creative techniques to face complex problems. These are some great benefits of reading fantasy and science fiction. Fantasy allows you to explore your creative side as adults but still remain in touch with reality. These books make reading really enjoyable, plus, they add so much value to our lives. So, next time, don't let anyone tell you that fantasy is just a distraction. Now, lose yourself in that fantasy novel. I'll catch up with you in the next video. Keep reading.